Okay, you've seen the pre-prepped canvas, but I now want to illustrate how I did that. So what we've done, just for a visual sake, is we painted the canvas here on small scale with a dark color, just so that you'll be able to see how I pick it up. And what I do is I use gesso with a in this case I'm using a premium white bristle brush, but I want something with a coarse texture because I don't want it to record brush strokes in it. So I'm just using the gesso. Whatever you got is fine. But when I apply it, I'm going to create some additional textures with the gesso. Now, mind you, I would be on a white canvas, but we've done this just so that you can see the application method. Something very nice and thick, but also kind of pliable to use. Now I have it going in all different kinds of directions here, and what I really want to do is to kind of give it a little bit different ways of kind of breaking up the space. I first came along, put a brush in, gave it some brush stroke. Then I came back with a palette knife, picking up some of the excess, and I like to flick it down to create these different kind of textural effects. So I have some brush stroke, I have some of the smoothing out. I can also scrape away and then come back over those areas as well. So I want to be able to have all different kinds of inflection of this gesso onto the palette. Now, if I'm in a larger scale and I was really going crazy, I could actually take the brush and throw it out. But on this little one, I'm not doing that, but I want you to see that it's just not all smooth and perfect back and forth. It's all over the place. Coming back in with palette knives, no matter which one you want. Remember, the bigger the palette knife, the larger the fling. And I'm going to throw it out like this. This creates some different kinds of textures in the prep surface. And by using gesso, it's a little bit less expensive than trying to do this with a bunch of paint down at first. So I put my gesso down. Then I would come back after the gesso dries and actually paint a veneer of color over the top of it. It's a little bit more economic and you still get that great effect. All different kinds of undulations with the palette knife. I'm not scraping away, I'm kind of dusting the top of the area with the palette knife to create these different kind of undulating effects. Some brush stroke, some of these little, almost like a mason would do when he's laying bricks, smoothing out the mortar. Well, that's what I'm doing now, but I don't want it uniform. I kind of like it going all over the place. Once I have the gesso down, then I'm going to come back in with a little gloss medium. And what I use this, it's just a polymer resin. It doesn't really matter what kind it is. And I actually create this drizzle effect where I'm going to actually lean the canvas up, and I'm going to let gravity do the work. I would just drizzle out little areas and just let the medium do what it's going to do. And the reason why I like the gloss medium, it gives a sheen when it dries, so that when the paint is painted over the top of the veneer of color that I put on the top of this, it'll have a different kind of a reflective quality in the glossiness as compared to the matteness of the gesso. So when paint is put over the top of it, you're going to get some areas where it's going to be flat and some areas where it's going to be gloss. I think that makes a little bit more interesting texture there. But I'll just put a little bit down, you'll see a little bead of it, and just let gravity do the work for me. This is a process I would do prior to any work that I like to do. Let that run. I almost get it to almost to the bottom, and then I will set it back down flat again. This is just going to create some shiny areas, some flat areas, some textured areas with brush stroke, with a little drizzle to create some great textural effects. Let that dry, and then I'll homogenize it with an even coat of one particular color. From there, that dries overnight. I'll come back the next day, and we'll be ready to go to actually do the actual finished painting. But But for the prep part, that's all I do. A little gesso, a little gloss medium, create this wonderful effect, a little brush stroke, a little bit of the troweling with the palette knife, and you can create this really neat effect. Do it prior to painting, and it's going to actually save you quite a bit of money as far as not going through a lot of paint. So we're going to get back to the other canvas, but I wanted to show you this first so that you would have a great idea of how to prep your canvas prior to you going ahead and starting your painting.